Good evening. My name is Umanath. My qualification is postgraduate diploma in clinical nutrition and dietetics. I am practicing holistic healthcare to address various chronic degenerative conditions for various clients over a period of years. Based on my knowledge, experience, and practice in this field, I thought of sharing some of the most important inputs which will help each and every one of you to enhance your health as well as strengthen your immune system. The purpose of making this video is to help every one of you during this coronavirus global pandemic threat. The entire mankind is facing this threat over a period of few months, and we all know that the spread is global and various countries, both developed as well as developing countries, are all struggling to handle this pandemic. There are different steps taken by various governments in different parts of the world. Most of the time, these efforts are focusing in terms of containment and certain actions like social distancing, recommending the usage of masks, hand hygiene, quarantining, and if necessary, hospitalization, and then certain treatment with the available drugs. Unfortunately, there is no proven drug, antiviral drug as of now is available to treat this condition, and there is a long way to go before a vaccine arrives. The vaccine development may take roughly 14 months for all of us to get it. And in the meanwhile, most of the countries are practicing lockdowns, social distancing, and other containment measures so that they are in a better position to slow down the spread of the epidemic, and they are also in a better position to ensure that their existing health infrastructure, the medical professionals, and the teams are not overloaded at the same time. They are all trying to flatten the curve. At this juncture, I thought every one of us have got a responsibility to do our role. Are we actually doing it? Most of us are practicing social distancing, wearing masks when we go out, following hand hygiene, and also following the rules and regulations that are defined by the governments during the lockdown. That is very much there. And most of us are also appreciating the efforts taken by the doctors, nurses, medical community, scientists, police, government official at this difficult time. But is it enough for us to protect our health? Is it enough for us to protect the health of our family members? And is it enough for us to protect the health of the population in our country and in the world? I think we need to do more. So far, whatever we have done are all in terms of reactive measures. And there are many things that can be done proactively, in my opinion. And as of now, there is no structured approach in terms of how these things can be done, how these things can be practiced by various individuals who are all sitting at home due to lockdown. And I would like to emphasize here that time and health are two precious assets we don't recognize or appreciate until they have been depleted. I feel it is time for us to act before it depletes. How do we do it? The beginning is to take responsibility for our health. Every one of us, we need to take responsibility for our health. What I mean is that there is a significant difference in terms of health and disease. Health, we are responsible. And if we don't maintain health and end up in disease, of course, there is the medical community, hospitals, doctors, those who are there, they will definitely help us in terms of how we can manage and control and treat and cure the disease. But unfortunately, I don't want any one of us to end up in that situation. So if we need to reduce that happening, the point that we need to focus is health, not in terms of disease. Healthy individuals do not end up in disease very easily. Individuals who are not healthy, those who do not focus on their health, they may end up in hospitalization, they may end up in disease management, control, and care much earlier than healthy individuals. Actually, this is what is putting more pressure on the medical community. So just practicing hand hygiene, wearing mask, and following social distancing are all important points, but I think you need to do much more than what is told by the government. So what I feel is that, what do I mean by taking responsibility for your health? Please understand that antiviral drugs and quarantining and containment, all these steps are all something like little more reactive in nature. Let us take an example of a soccer match or a football match. And I feel we are all in such a match. And it is one of the most important football match. We can consider it something like the World Cup final soccer game. And the doctors, nurses, and medical community, they are all in the front line. They are all in the front line to defend, front line to help patients who are suffering. But we also need the goalkeeper to protect our goalpost. And at this point of time, I find that most of us are not focusing on the goalkeeper, and we are all trying to play the game without a goalkeeper. In my opinion, the goalkeeper is our immune system. And he is the one having the last line of defense when all other defenses fail. And anyone who is conscious of this fact and willing to take step in terms of improving health and immunity will be in a better position. They will be in a better preparedness to face the epidemic when it knocks your door. So the entire video which we are going to see and we are going to discuss is going to focus on this. How to defend your goalpost, how to train your goalkeeper, how to have one of the best defense that you can have. And winning the match has got few things. Not conceding a goal and at the same time scoring a goal. And even if we don't score a goal and if we do not concede a goal, still we will draw the match. So whatever we are discussing, this strategy and approach and concept and the guidelines will help you to either draw the match or win the match. So please look into this point that we are going to discuss and see how best you can start implementing in your life. Okay. And when I made this presentation, I try to make it as simple as possible so that anyone who is at home should be in a position to practice without any practical difficulty. That is one of the most important points which I have considered. At the same time, it may look simple and easy to follow, but definitely it is comprehensive and holistic, and this will give you one of the best defense that you can have. So, when I arrived at these recommendations, I've considered all these points in mind so that you can start practicing from the day one. You will not have any difficulty in understanding the point that we are going to discuss. At the same time, you will not have any practical difficulty in terms of implementing and following the recommendations. And the health and the immune system depends on certain most important foundations of every living creature, whether it is human or a tree or a plant or an animal. We all need certain basic things. That is where our health starts. Let me say what they are, and we will go through one by one and try to see how we can do it better. The number one point is water intake. When you see water intake, you may think that it is very simple. Yes, it is simple and easy to practice, but it is one of the most important points in the journey of health. We all know what do we mean by dehydration. Many of us have experienced dehydration. Many of us have experienced when we had some diarrhea, vomiting, or sunstroke. We have all experienced. That is an acute dehydration. That means a severe and acute dehydration. Most of the time, the treatment is taking an electrolyte or taking IV fluids in an hospital. That will help you to restore the fluid balance as well as help you to get back the electrolyte balance. Most of the time, people recover quickly in a matter of 1 or 2 days. But we need to understand there is much more than to it. When a person is not drinking adequate water on a daily basis, let us say a person is drinking water 3 times a day after every meal, maybe 1 glass or 1.5 glass of water. And maximum he might be taking roughly around 700 to 800 ml of water in a day. And this is definitely insufficient for an adult. And this can result in, over a period of time, a condition called chronic dehydration. And chronic dehydration actually has got significant impact in terms of our overall health and as well as immune system. So the first point, when we need to improve health, make sure that we all take 8 glasses of water, roughly 2 liters and above for any adult. The quantity can be slightly less for a child. And drinking sufficient quantity of water will also help you to maintain a status called homeostasis. It is one of the most balanced state that an individual can have. And when we are in such a balanced state, our health and as well as immune system is always in a better position to defend us. So number one point to maintain that balance is water intake. Don't take this lightly. Okay. And it is a good practice to take lukewarm water during this virus pandemic. And drinking few cups of green tea also helps in terms of fluid balance, and it also accelerates the body's capacity to detoxify. Okay. So ensure that this first pillar of health is followed regularly. Second one of the most important point is oxygen. And many of us are seeing now in the media last few months about ventilators. Every country is trying to ramp up the production of ventilator, trying to buy ventilators from other countries, and trying to encourage even other industries like automotive industries to produce ventilators on a war footing basis. And yes, it can help patients who are in the last mile of their journey. But unfortunately, it is not going to help many of us who is sitting at home. And if we look at ventilators and trees, I would always say that if we need to avoid the situation of thousands and millions of ventilators in the future, ensure that you have enough oxygen. How do we do it? Let's understand how we can practice. And oxygen is one of the primary life force. Even in yoga, we call it as prana. Okay. And many of us live in air-conditioned spaces. First of all, we need to know that even in a centralized air conditioning facility with a very good system, we all get only 55% of the fresh air in an air-conditioned facility. 45% of the air is recirculated. So try to avoid air-conditioned spaces during this time. That will help you to have adequate oxygen. That is the number one. Second is that if there are open spaces in your home, let's say the rooftop or your balcony, please go and spend some time and breathe some fresh air. And it is also easy for us to practice some good practices like breathing exercises or pranayama, which is also a part of Yoga Sutra. And when you practice these procedures, it will help you to improve the oxygen supply to every cell. In fact, every cell needs oxygen supply. If the cells are healthy, our tissues will be healthy. If the tissues are healthy, our organs become healthier. If the organs are healthier, our systems like respiratory system, blood circulation system, every system becomes healthier. When every system becomes healthier, the entire body becomes healthier. And without having any focus on this, focusing on only ventilators, at the end of the tunnel, I feel it is more reactive. I am not saying that they are not required. They are very much required. I really appreciate the efforts taken by the industries as well as the efforts taken by the medical community. That is their job. But now, what is your role? Your role is to ensure that you don't land up there. You improve your oxygenation to every cell in your body, every tissue in your body, every organ in your body, as well as the whole body. And this is the second important foundation for your health. First point is adequate water intake. The second one is adequate oxygen intake. Okay, let's move on to the other one. Sunlight. Please understand that most of the life forms, whether it is plants, animals, birds, humans, most of the aquatic life, most of the life form will completely become extinct in the absence of sunlight over a period of years. That itself explains very clearly that sunlight is one of the most important point we all should pay our attention to. At the same time, the sunlight is also an enemy for microorganisms like viruses, bacteria, fungi, and all these things. So, when we have a common resource like sunlight, which is enemy to the virus, as well as a friend to all the other living creatures in the planet, why don't you really look at it? When you are in the lockdown, if you sit down internally and remain in the shadow or sit down inside an air-conditioned room, I think you are more or less becoming blind to this one of the most important fact we all know. There is nothing new in this. Sunlight is considered to be one of the most important disinfectant. Please do not waste it. It is free. Make use of it. And sunlight is one of the most important medicine for many ailments. And lot of ancient civilizations have even worshipped sun as their god. I think there is a real meaning and value behind it. And in spite of having a lot of knowledge, advancement in science, I think we are all, I don't know, knowingly or unknowingly, becoming blind to this very simple fact. Okay. So, if you have sunlight in your rooftop, in your balcony, please make sure that you get enough sunlight, at least 30 minutes a day. Time is not a matter. You can do it in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, whenever you are comfortable. But don't let the sunlight go as waste. And especially people in India, we get sunlight almost throughout the year. We don't understand the value of it. There are people who live in Scandinavian countries or countries where the sunlight is not there many months during some seasons. They understand the value of sunlight. So, I think every one of us should not ignore the simple fact that sunlight is one of the important life force. Sunlight is against the viruses, bacteria, and microorganisms and yeast and fungi. And sunlight is a friend. Sunlight is a friend for all of us. So why don't you make use of it? Next important factor in terms of deciding our health and the immune system is sleep. And I would like to re-emphasize very clearly that lack of restful sleep actually can disrupt the body's balance, it can weaken the immune system, it can also accelerate our aging. And do you all know why is it? Because lack of sleep affects a fine balance called circadian rhythm. It is something like how the night is and how the day is. As long as we pay due attention and respect to the day and night balance. When you say day and night balance, it is roughly 7 hours of good sleep in the night, especially after sunset and before sunrise. That is what is your balanced night, and it will reflect very clearly during your daytime. You can remain active and energetic throughout the day. This practice can help you to bring back your circadian rhythm to balance, and that in turn will help you to improve your overall health, reduce imbalances in various systems, at the same time enhance your immunity. This is one of the most simple and very important fact I find many people are ignoring. Even before the lockdown, during the lockdown also. Before the lockdown, many of us had excuses because extended working hours, night shift working, or carrying work to home and then working up to late midnight, or watching television serials, or spending time in internet and going to sleep around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. All these mistakes have been done by many of us even before this pandemic came. Now the pandemic is there. We are all sitting at home. Even when we are all sitting at home, I find there are many who are spending a lot of hours, late night hours, in the television or in the internet and going to sleep after midnight. Please understand that you are damaging your health. You are causing imbalances to all your vital systems, and you are losing immunity. And you will become weaker and weaker. When the situation knocks your door, you will be highly vulnerable than those who have practiced this balance of circadian rhythm. Do not ignore. This is one of the most important and one of the most fundamental in terms of our health. And of course, it is free. Now you have got all the time to do it effectively. Why don't you do it? And there are very clear research studies which are concluding very clearly that imbalance in the circadian rhythm can affect almost all systems in our body. It can affect the nervous system. It can affect the blood circulation. It can affect our psychiatric balance. It can affect our digestive system. It can affect our immune system. It causes hormonal imbalances and chaos, to name a few. And they have concluded that they are not able to find even one system which is not affected by imbalance in the circadian rhythm. This is one of the most important. Please do not ignore. Next important point in terms of good health and immune system is physical activity. Physical activity by following certain good practices, maybe exercise or yoga. I recommend you to do at least 30 to 45 minutes daily, whatever you are comfortable. It could be either yoga or exercise. What they are capable of doing. Let me explain what they are actually capable of doing. See, even thousands of years ago, people have understood that lack of activity, lack of physical activity destroys the good condition of every part of the human being, whereas movements and methodical physical exercises, planned physical activities, can help us to save them and preserve them and also improve them. How is it possible? See, there are two important systems coming under the category circulatory systems. The number one important circulatory system is called blood circulation system. Blood circulation system includes the heart, the pumping of the heart, all the blood vessels, and including all the blood vessels reaching the last mile in our body, right from our tip to toe, including the last minutest blood vessel going in our brain. The size and diameter can be even 1/10 of the hair diameter. The entire system, the entire circulation, and if it is effective, if it is dynamic, and if it is capable of reaching the last mile without any blockage, without any obstruction, without any insufficiency, this can boost our health tremendously. This can boost our immune system significantly. So any physical activity, either exercise or yoga, helps to channelize and improve the circulation to all parts of the body and also to all systems in the body. This is one of the most important and vital. The second important circulatory system is called lymphatic flow. We have a fluid called lymphatic fluid. The lymphatic fluid and its dynamic flow throughout the body, similar to blood circulation, is one of the most important part of the circulatory system, which has got the paramount influence on the entire immune system. Because lymphatic system, along with various glands, they do the primary job of protecting our body from all the threat that we are facing. In fact, they are our army. They are our protectors. They are our border security force. They are our soldiers, actually. And when you do not do physical activity, like if your job is not involving physical activity, and if you are not doing any exercise, if you are not doing any good practices like yoga, and just sitting at home, watching television, and watching internet, and enjoying this lockdown, please understand that your soldiers are sleeping. Your army is snoring. And they have never done any drills and practices. And whatever you have will not be able to fight when the actual battle arrives your doorstep. So if you want your army to practice drills and be prepared to face any eventuality, please ensure that your lymphatic flow and glands are stimulated and they are all dynamic. How can this happen? Yoga or exercise or any other physical activity can help us to stimulate the glands. It will also help us to improve the lymphatic flow and make it more dynamic. That is what will help your army to be prepared round the clock, 24 hours, to face any threat that your body is going to see. And we all know this is important, but I feel many of us do not know how important it is and why we need to do this. The reason why I am making this video is to make sure that whatever we thought simple are the most important ones. Whatever we thought that we can take it for granted are the ones which are going to defend us. Please do not ignore. Start improving your physical activity. Follow certain specific guidelines in terms of exercise, in terms of yoga, and make it as a part of your routine. Make it as a part of your practice. This will help you to keep your army ready and round the clock. Why I am saying this, even the biggest assets of military might, we call it as aircraft carriers and submarines. Because the aircraft carriers and submarines are the ones, they carry the mass destructive weapons, including nuclear weapons, and a lot of fighter jets. Do you all know that 4 to 5 biggest aircraft carriers of the US is already infected with coronavirus? And the largest aircraft carrier of France is infected with more than 30% of the personnel on board. So, when that can happen, is it possible for you to keep your army snoring? Is it possible for your army to lay down and relax? I think it is not appropriate. Please wake up, make sure that your army is fully armed and it is ready to face whatever it takes. Next important point is nutrition. And this I wanted to deal in 2 levels. One is in terms of diet, the other one is in terms of supplementation. So let us look at what can be done in terms of diet. See, one of our scholar, Greek, Hippocrates. Many of you might have heard about him. Whatever he said thousands of years before is still valid. What he said is, let our food be the medicine and the medicine be our food. So diet plays a very important role in terms of our health and immune system. And what is important in terms of a balanced diet? See, most of the practices followed by many people, different communities, different countries, we are all having diet rich in carbohydrates. And that every one of us are aware. So now I am going to clearly highlight actually what you need to improve in terms of your diet. Okay. So the improvement required in the diet is to be practiced on a daily basis. So we can divide the macro level of diet, macronutrients, and the diet in 4 groups: vegetables and fruits, proteins, good fats and oils, and carbohydrates. Since we are already taking enough carbohydrates, I am not going to emphasize that. You continue. But what we need to improve is more important. So improve the intake of fruits and vegetables on a daily basis. How do we do it? At least take 1 fruit as a part of your breakfast. It can be an apple, or a guava, or a pomegranate, or a cup of papaya, or any other good fruit which is rich in antioxidants, which is rich in enzymes, which is rich in vitamins and minerals. So make it as a part of your diet, especially the breakfast. Include at least 1 fruit. Second is that include few nuts and dry fruits as a part of your breakfast. Nuts and dry fruits are very rich in terms of minerals, in terms of nutrients, and they can help you a lot in terms of improving the immunity also. It can help you a lot in terms of maintaining good energy level, in terms of lasting longer, even during prolonged lockdowns. How many of you know that during the Mumbai terror attack, the terrorists were holed up in the hotel for several days? The struggle between the terrorists and the security forces went on for roughly 3 to 4 days. Do you think that they had enough time to sit and take breakfast, lunch and dinner? Absolutely not. It is not possible for them to do it during the gunshots. Almost all of them were carrying nuts and dry fruits. They were still able to do that and prolong the fight for several hours. It's a bad example, but understand that the power of nuts and dry fruits. Take few, at least daily, as a part of your breakfast. Next important is complete protein. See, one of the most important input the body needs is protein. And there are 11 different chains of amino acids. A complete protein, if it includes all of them, is excellent. Egg is one of the most important complete protein all of us can have. So ensure that at least you take 1 egg a day, either in the breakfast or with the lunch. If you are a pure vegetarian, if you are not open to take even egg, I suggest you to take brown channa, being the dark channa, or green gram, or dal, or any other sprouted items after cooking. And this can also help you to get some amount of protein, even though they are not anyway equal to egg. But at least take this. This will definitely help. And it is also important for us to take good fats and oils as a part of the diet. don't be afraid of taking it. Fats and oils coming from good sources are very important as a part of our health. What are the good sources? The good sources are, it comes from nuts and dry fruits. Egg also contains some amount of fat. Ghee is containing good fat. Olive oil, coconut oil, all are good sources. Okay. And fish is also a good source of protein. Okay. And at least ensure that you are taking 2 spoons of coconut oil as a part of your diet, or half a spoon of ghee as a part of diet, which will help you to get adequate good fat and oil as part of the diet. Do not eliminate good fats and oils completely from your diet. It will not help you. It will only weaken you. At the same time, consuming too much of bad fat and oil will not help. That will only affect your health. So be clear. Take good fats and oils in moderate quantities and regular. Another important point, use all the spices and condiments as a part of your cooking, as a part of your diet regularly. All spices and condiments are good. Whether it is turmeric, whether it is cinnamon, whether it is black pepper, whether it is ginger, whether it is coriander, or whether it is any other spices people are using in the Western countries like thyme and so on. Please ensure that all the traditional spices used in different parts of the world, all are good, and use it regularly in moderate quantities as a part of your cooking. Now, whatever we have discussed so far in terms of balanced diet are all do's, what you need to do. I also feel that you need to understand what is that you are not supposed to do it in terms of diet. See, diets which are not rich in nutrient density, diets that are going to deplete your resources, diets that are going to reduce your energy levels, diets that are classified as junk, all needs to be eliminated from your food. Example, all kind of fast foods and junk foods. Most of you are aware what I mean. Please do it. And it is also important to avoid bread, bun, and other bakery products and sweets, especially during this virus pandemic. This group of items, bread, bun, bakery products, and sweets, can help and make you more vulnerable for infections. And if the conditions are there, they can accelerate your symptoms. So at least during this time, I request you to avoid these kind of foods. Completely avoid all chilled and refrigerated items. It could be chilled water, it could be chilled juice, or any other item. Please avoid. Either take it in the room temperature or take it in a lukewarm condition. Avoid all preserved foods. That includes all foods like dry fish and any other preserved foods, including pickles. Please avoid these things during this pandemic, and it is also good if you avoid in the long run. Now, having discussed the points with respect to diet, I thought I should emphasize clearly, are we getting all the nutrients that are required for us through diet? There are some people who say yes, but I have a slightly different opinion. Though we may get most of the nutrients by following a good diet, a balanced diet like what we have discussed, still we may not get all the nutrients, especially the micronutrients that are required for us to have better health and immune system. The reason is the food that is grown, it could be vegetables, it could be fruits, or it could be grains, all that we eat are all grown through agricultural practices. Agricultural practices are happening in this world several thousands of years. And over a period of repeated cultivation and harvesting cycles, the topsoil, the topmost layer of the soil that is rich in minerals and nutrients is getting depleted during every cycle of harvesting. So what happens over a period of time, most of the fertile lands have lost the vital minerals and nutrients. And farmers are using fertilizers and they are also using pesticides. And this usage is also further causing more damage to the topsoil. And also, whatever the vital minerals and nutrients like iron, copper, selenium, there are many, zinc, they are all not getting depleted. So whatever we get that is produced in this agricultural fields, they are also deficient in some of the important micronutrients. This clearly emphasizes the need for us to take some minimum supplementation. I'm not saying that the supplementation has to be taken with higher doses for longer duration for the rest of the life. No, definitely not. But supplementation is very important when we already know that the food chain is completely depleted. So I have given some simple recommendations which will compensate the gap in terms of micronutrients in the food that we take. So what can be done in terms of supplementation, which is very simple and easy to follow? Anybody can follow. But this section alone, especially the supplementation section alone, I give a caution clearly. The supplementation can be followed by all the individuals except two categories: pregnant women and those who are having renal failure, kidney failure, or those who are going through dialysis or transplantation. This category of people, please do not follow the supplement recommendations. All others can follow. Okay. So I'm repeating again, the supplementation recommendations is applicable for all individuals, but the exception is not to be followed by pregnant women and also individuals who are having kidney failure or going through dialysis or have gone through transplantation. Please do not follow this supplement recommendation. Okay. And everybody else can follow. And what can be done in terms of supplementation, which is easy to follow, available over the counter, and which will help you to bridge the gap in terms of micronutrient deficiencies, as well as it will help you to improve your health and the immune system. And immune system has got too much of dependence on micronutrients. To name some of them, zinc is one of the most important nutrient which plays a vital role in every part of the enzyme action in the whole body, and it is connected to all immune responses in the body. Selenium plays a vital role. Copper plays a vital role. Okay. Like this, I can go on saying there are many nutrients which play a vital role in terms of our health. Even for respiratory system, If a person, the internal system is not having enough iron, if it is deficient in terms of copper and zinc, his respiratory system will be weaker than the other person. When such a weakness exists, in case of any viral infection in the upper respiratory system, it is easy for the viral infection to reach the lower respiratory system, which can result in breathlessness and panting, and which may end up in hospitalization and ultimately lead to usage of ventilator. So there are many things can be done by micronutrient supplementation in terms of improving your respiratory immune system, both upper respiratory system as well as the lower respiratory system, which will help you to prevent hospitalization even if you are infected. So please understand that micronutrient supplementation with the degree that is really required through supplementation is also very important, having known that the food chain is already depleted. Okay. There are differences of opinion on this matter raised by certain doctors, raised by such as certain naturopathists, but whatever I am discussing are all based on the fact, based on the scientific research, and based on the knowledge, based on the practice, based on the results that I have seen over a period of years. So what needs to be supplemented? There are 5 important points in terms of supplementation. Number 1 is take omega-3. The good sources of omega-3 is either fish oil or cod liver oil. And you can take any one of these capsules daily with your dinner. And what it does, it helps us to ensure that our blood is not thickening. It also helps us to keep our blood warm, which is important for us to have a very good respiratory immune response in the event of a viral infection in the upper respiratory system as well as in the lower respiratory system. Omega-3 also helps us to improve the quality of cells. It also helps us to improve various other conditions, reduces the cardiovascular risk, and so on. So, during this viral infection, those who are having weak cardiovascular system, those who are having weak respiratory system, they end up in critical condition than many other people who are getting infected. And this can come as a lot of help for those patients if you start practicing right now. The second one is take a multivitamin, multimineral tablet which is available over the counter with your breakfast daily. And when you take this helps you to bridge the gap in terms of the deficiencies in the food chain. And this helps almost all the systems in the body. The next one is take a vitamin C supplement, roughly 500 milligram of dosage daily with your lunch. And the role of vitamin C in terms of respiratory immune system, the role of vitamin C in terms of immune response, the role of vitamin C in terms of improving the overall health, the role of vitamin C in the absence of good food is proven time and again. In fact, there is a wonderful research done by one of the Nobel laureate, Dr. Linus Pauling. And he is the one and the only man in the medical field who got Nobel Prize twice in the same field for his research in this field. And he is the one and the only Nobel laureate who got Nobel Prize twice as an individual, not as a team. And he has done tremendous amount of work in terms of research on micronutrients, including vitamin C, and proved time and again that it is one of the most important as a part of the supplementation. Please take it. The next one is vitamin D3. I said earlier how important sunlight is. In spite of having good sunlight exposure or not having good sunlight exposure, various results of blood tests for vitamin D3 levels done for various patients indicates clearly that this deficiency is there in majority of the population. This is a known fact. This is prevalent throughout the world. Okay. And taking vitamin D3 supplementation with a dosage of 4000 IU per day will help you to bridge this gap. Please follow, because vitamin D3 plays vital role in many of the systems, right from sleep, migraine headache, immune system, and many more, hormonal balance. Many aspects are influenced by vitamin D3. The research is going on and on. If we worship sun as the god, I still say that we need to worship vitamin D3 as smaller version of the sun god. Please take it. It will help you. And the next supplementation is vitamin E. The dosage recommended is 400 IU daily. Take it with lunch daily. Vitamin E plays a vital role in terms of maintaining good response to any allergen. And it plays a vital role improving your immunity in case of allergic rhinitis. It also helps to build immunity. It helps to improve your skin. It helps to modulate the immune system. And it helps to improve even hair growth. It helps to improve your vision. There are many more. So, taking vitamin E supplementation helps us in many aspects. Please take it. And whatever recommendation that we have discussed in terms of supplementation, the time period that I suggest as of now is take daily for a duration of 30 consecutive days. After 30 days, reduce the dosage, reduce the frequency of taking from daily to twice a week. So after 30 days, don't take it daily, take only 2 days a week. So that will ensure that you don't end up in any excess accumulation of minerals or vitamins as a part of the system, which can become mildly disturbing and harmful over a period of time. So when you reduce the frequency from daily dose after 30 days to weekly 2 days, this can be completely avoided, and still you will be able to maintain and sustain the improvements that you are getting over a period of time. That means you will not go back to your square one. You will be able to maintain your good health, and you will be able to maintain your immune system at an optimum level on a continual basis. So please understand these aspects, very, very important. Again, I am re-emphasizing, before we move on to the next point, I am re-emphasizing that supplementation is recommended for all individuals, but the exception is not to be practiced by pregnant women and as well as patients having renal failure, I mean kidney failure, or going through dialysis, or have gone through transplantation in the recent past. These patients, please do not take supplementation. And here I would like to quote what was said by Thomas Alva Edison. You all think that he is a scientist, great scientist, who did many inventions, right from telephone, electric bulb, and so on. And one of his statements on nutrition Even 100 years before, if you read, it is astonishing. Let me read it out. The doctor of the future will no longer treat the human frame with drugs, but rather will cure and prevent disease with nutrition. Imagine the kind of foresightedness. Imagine the kind of vision he had even 100 years before. Why I am saying this? I am seeing this in reality by practice when I see many people who are recovering after following a very clear protocol addressing the needs of an individual, which is tailor-made and customized, and they are able to recover from various health conditions completely, even though they were all suffering several years. Example, chronic digestive system issues like acidity, acid reflux, stomach pain, irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, ulcer. In the respiratory system, issues like COPD, issues like wheezing, asthma, sinus, allergic rhinitis, many more. Issues like bone and joint issues like arthritis, joint pain, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, and cervical spondylosis, back pain, many areas. I see people recover from even nervous system related disorders, including many of the psychiatric disorders. They are able to recover. There are people who suffer with so many conditions like insomnia, restlessness, sense of fear, anxiety, many other type of sleep disorder. We are able to recover them with customized recommendations, which helps them to restore the balances internally and get back their health, not by focusing on disease, by focusing on lack of health and getting back the optimum health. I sincerely believe and I sincerely observe and see in front of my eyes whatever Edison said 100 years before is actually happening. I feel we have lot of future in this direction if all of you focus on this line in terms of our foundations of health, the fundamentals of health, not taking it for granted, and understand the importance, understand the concept behind it, understand the meaning behind it, understand the value behind it, understand the importance of the goalkeeper, who is the last line of the defense, who can defend most of the time the indefensible. And if we do this, I think we will be in a better position to take up this global pandemic challenge. Now, in addition to all the points that we have discussed so far, what are the points that we have discussed so far? Water intake, oxygen, sunlight, physical activity, nutrition through balanced diet, micronutrient supplementation to address the gap in terms of deficiencies in the food chain, all these points that we have discussed. Now, we are going to discuss one of the most important thing, which is very specific to antiviral mix. So what I mean is that practice all the points that we have discussed so far. I have made a proposal of an antiviral combination which can be made at home by any one of you easily with all the available material in hand, and which will be one of the defense that you can have. This antiviral compound that I am going to explain can be used regularly on a daily basis for months together or even years, as long as the pandemic threat exists. How I am going to explain how this antiviral mix can be made at home and what are the specific instructions that you need to follow in terms of using it as a practice. All these points I will explain in detail. Okay. Please listen carefully. Okay. When I decided to give a recommendation of an antiviral mix, as I said earlier, I have kept few things in mind. It should be easily available throughout the world, number one. It should be easily accessible to all of you, even during lockdown, number two. Number three, you should be able to make it on your own. You should not depend on anybody. Number four, you should be able to use it without any side effects, even in the long term. And these are certain things I have kept in mind and made this recommendation. But I have not made any compromise in terms of the quality of the antiviral mix or in terms of the potency of the antiviral mix, in terms of the capability of the antiviral mix. And even though it may look simple, this is one of the most powerful and potent combination that we can have at our home. What you need, what are the ingredients that are required to make this antiviral compound? There are 4 ingredients that you need. Number 1 is turmeric powder. If you can get good quality organic turmeric powder, use it. If it is not available, at least any good turmeric powder available in the departmental store, you can use it. Second ingredient is cinnamon powder. See, this cinnamon powder, there are a lot of variation in the quality. Cinnamon powders are made after extracting the oil from the cinnamon, and those powders are not good. If the cinnamon powder is made before extracting the oil from the cinnamon, then it has got excellent potential. Most of the time, Sri Lankan cinnamon powder is excellent. If you can get it, that is very good. If you're not able to get it, at least get any good cinnamon powder which is available in a departmental store. The third ingredient is black pepper powder. It's widely available. The fourth ingredient is dry ginger powder. This is also widely available. Okay. And how to make this mix or how to prepare this mix? See, preparing this mix, there are 2 ways of doing it. If you have a digital weighing scale, you can do it very much more accurately. But I think it may not be possible for many of you to have an accurate digital weighing scale at your home. So I have decided to leave that option. I have given a simple option which you can use it with 2 simple things available at home. Either a teaspoon or a 5 ml measuring cup. Normally you get it along with the bottle of a tonic or a liquid that you buy from a medical shop. You get a 5 ml measuring cup. So if you have a 5 ml measuring cup or a teaspoon, I think you can make this very easily at home. So we will do it by volume measurement now rather than weight measurement. Okay. So if you have the 5 ml of measurement is equal to 1 teaspoon. So I recommend you to use the 5 ml measuring cup if it is available, because that is more accurate than using a spoon. So first ingredient, how much you need? You need 8 cups of 5 ml of turmeric or 8 spoons of turmeric powder, any one. Second ingredient, cinnamon powder. You need 1.5 cup of 5 ml cinnamon powder or 1.5 teaspoon of cinnamon powder. Third ingredient is black pepper powder. Black pepper powder you need to take half cup of 5 ml, I mean 2.5 ml, or half spoon of black pepper powder. The fourth ingredient is dry ginger powder. Same way, you take half cup of 5 ml, I mean 2.5 ml, or take half spoon of dry ginger powder. So, I repeat again, 8 cups of 5 ml measurement of turmeric, 1.5 cup of 5 ml measurement of cinnamon powder, half cup of 5 ml measurement of black pepper powder, half cup of 5 ml of measurement of dry ginger powder. Once you have all this ingredient, put it in a container and mix it thoroughly. Mix it thoroughly, okay, and keep it in an airtight bottle or an airtight container. It is very important. If you don't keep it in an airtight container, the potency will go down over a period of weeks. So please ensure that you are using an airtight container, and I recommend you to use a small container. If the quantum of the mix is small, use a small container. Don't use a very big container for a small quantum of mix. Still you will lose potency. So take a very small container which can hold the powder mix that we have made, antiviral mix that we have made, and close it with an airtight lid. Okay. Now you have made it at home. One of the most powerful and potent antiviral compound. Why I say one of the most powerful and potent antiviral compound? Let me explain. Assume that you are taking only quarter spoon of turmeric or half spoon of turmeric daily. Yes, it is very good. But when you combine turmeric with black pepper, when you combine turmeric with ginger powder, when you combine turmeric with cinnamon powder, the antioxidant available in the turmeric called as curcumin. The curcumin's bioavailability gets multiplied by several times. I mean several times. When I say several times of multiplication of bioavailability, it is not few tens or hundreds. It is multiplied by more than 1,000 times. So, you may think that this mix is very simple, but understand that this mix is one of the most powerful combination which can be used effectively to defend your immune system, effectively as an antiviral compound which will help you to defend in case of a virus threat. And this mix will serve not only as an antiviral, this also serves as an antibacterial compound. This also contains super antioxidants. And these antioxidants are capable of scavenging free radicals that can cause damage and inflammation inside your system. Most of the time, the free radicals and the inflammation causes a lot of chronic degenerative health conditions like joint pains, cardiovascular issues, back pain, and so on. And when you are taking this, it also helps you to reduce those conditions in addition to the antiviral properties. You can take it safely, comfortably, without any fear, without any apprehension. Now, what is the dosage? What is the dosage that is recommended? And what is the minimum dosage required? And what is the maximum dosage we should not exceed? The minimum dosage required for any adult is quarter to half spoon of the antiviral mix. So take quarter to half spoon of an antiviral mix, and how you can take this? Mix this antiviral powder with hot water, a glass of hot water, or a glass of plain green tea, or a glass of hot milk. Mix in any one of these three options and take it daily once. You can take it daily twice also. Okay. And do not exceed the dosage of daily twice. Suppose if you exceed the dosage of daily twice, what can happen? Nothing can go wrong terribly. It cannot cause severe side effects. It cannot cause major adverse effects. No, not at all. But it can cause some stomach discomfort. It can cause some uneasiness. It can cause some minor burning. So, if you stick to the recommendations of dosage within the prescribed limits, even the minor discomfort will not arise. And it is safe to use for weeks, months, even several months, as long as the virus threat exists. Okay. So again, I re-emphasize, this is a very simple, important antiviral mix. All of you can make at home and use it on a routine basis, which will also help you to keep your soldiers fully armed and equipped in terms of your immune system, and it will also boost your antiviral capabilities, which can help you to be in a better position to face this threat. Now, having discussed all the important points, I would like to thank every one of you, those who are seeing this video. If you find that the recommendations, the suggestions that we have discussed in this video is helpful and beneficial in terms of improving your health as well as your immune system, please share it or forward it to others. And do remember to subscribe. I'll be coming up with more videos in the near future to share all the good practices that I have been seeing, doing and practicing over a period of few years. And the intent of this sharing is to make sure that this reaches large volume of people so that they all can get benefited by following these simple practices. And I would like to make it clear that the recommendations given here are all intended to improve the health and also to strengthen the immune system. They are not intended to treat patients who are already tested COVID positive. Okay. But when people follow this, it helps them to improve their health as well as immune system in the fight against COVID-19. Okay. However, if any individual is suffering due to coronavirus symptoms, I request him or her to contact the nearest hospital so that they can do a proper diagnosis and ascertain the infection and provide a proper treatment protocol recommended by the medical professionals, which will help the patient to recover. And when we combine with this preventive healthcare approaches with other treatment options in allopathy, like antiviral medicines or vaccine or any other treatment given in the hospital, I find that the chances of coming out successfully is very high. So the A union B strengthens the overall capability to fight this pandemic. Now, I have given certain simple and easy to follow recommendations to face one of the biggest challenge that the mankind is facing last few months. And none of us can predict how long it can last. It can last for a few weeks or a few months or even maybe a year or plus. And when you follow the basics with the correct understanding and when you trust health and the immune system, I think we can fight this challenge together and succeed. I would like to end this video with an important quote by Charles Darwin. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one responsive to change. What does it mean? Any species, whether it is man or animal or virus, which is capable of adapting and changing to the circumstances, will survive in the long run. Do you all know that the first and the foremost forms of life was bacterial and viral? And we all came after that. And they are existing even today. And they will exist even thousands and thousands of years in the future. And viruses are one of the most flexible species that can adapt to various environments, that can mutate and still sail through their way. So, don't take this challenge as an easy one. Follow all the basic principles that we have discussed. If we do so, I'm sure we all together can fight this battle and come out successfully. It's only a question of time. Thank you.